I think bats will nest wherever it's a lot of work.
My name's Will Nash. I'm an artist, primarily a sculptor. I do quite a wide variety of different projects, often outdoors. This one is, it's in a particularly lovely spot. This is Warnham Nature Reserve. The reserve itself is an old industrial site. The pond, which is now surrounded by hides, provided power for milling and also for furnaces for the iron industry. And the form of the Bat Bothy is derived from the interior of the furnace in a sort of old-fashioned iron foundry. It's absolutely inspired and embedded in the place.
My name's Jacob Everett. I'm the Countryside and Ecology Manager for Horsham District Council, and Warnham Nature Reserve, which is where we're at the moment, is one of the sites that I manage. The warden team and myself were quite keen to get Will to build something that was going to benefit the nature reserve as well as be an art piece.
It's a sculpture and a habitat, so a habitable sculpture, and its residents will be local bats.
There's two ways the bats might use it. They might use it as a maternity roost, so to breed in, or they might use it as a hibernaculum, which is what they go to in the winter when the temperature stays much more stable.
It's made of Horsham stone, so this is a local hard sandstone which we've salvaged from an old memorial garden. It's been brought to Warnham and we're currently building it on site.
Shovel. If we're in a rush for it, you just got to knock it up. But you can just sort of leave it.
My name's Steve Purvis. I got involved in this project through working for an organisation called Green Gym, who are like a volunteer organisation.
The tasks we run are very varied. They can run from cutting down shrub and keeping paths open to thinning out woodland and so on. And there's a guy called Ryan who looks after the Green Gym volunteers on behalf of the council, and he also volunteers to help build the Bat Bothy with Will.
And if you spot that, like this one's a 45.
We've been starting off just by grading some of the stones because it's important that we have the layers of stone all evenly matched when we're doing each layer. 30s and 40s, 40s, 50s, 50s, 60s, that sort of thing. And the idea is, as you build the sculpture up, you don't want all the layers to be regular, you want them to be irregular, so we're mixing those different thicknesses as we go up the sculpture.
I think we're about 1 metre high. The sculpture will stand 2.8 metres, so we're just over a third of the way.
This is our centre point.
In order to get the right curve, we use this sort of measuring device. There's not a kind of a constant grabbing the tape measure. It's very simple. You just repeat the circle and you go up a bit and the circle gets smaller. I think of it as a mathematical object, and I suppose by that I mean that it's kind of made to a certain little set of rules which allow the making to happen in quite a precise and accurate way. Occasionally we have to, shape the stone in order to get the curve, but usually it's more a case of finding the right piece to fit. You're doing this ongoing jigsaw puzzle of arranging and it sort of starts to become quite intuitive, kind of finding the little triumph of something fitting together really nicely.
Over there. Yeah, it's the last one going in.
We literally couldn't have built the Bothy without the volunteer help.
There's a sort of thing that happens while you're making something like this where people just end up chatting. I don't know, it must be a sort of quite primal human thing about connecting over a sort of a shared physical activity, which often I don't have because I'm in the studio on my own.
Slightly in from the one I had over.
There's probably a bit of a gap there, isn't there?
Yeah, we can plug that with something then.
I arrived this morning and I was amazed at how it had come on and shaped, and the fact that there was only 25 centimetres to complete it was really exciting.
Well, we're now nearing completion and we're about 2 of the courses off the top now. So we're now getting very close to the final stone, which will be a capping stone, which we'll be putting on later today.
We actually found it the other day, but it wasn't round, so it had to be cut round. Alan decided very bravely that he was going to try and cut it round. It all went to plan except for one little tiny chip out of it, which we all felt we could live with.
So what's that one about there?
To you a little bit.
It's been a really enjoyable process, like bringing this thing out of the ground, and because of working with the volunteers as well, you know, there's a sort of camaraderie that's really lovely. You're hanging out with people you've never met before, and you have a common purpose, and then that brings you together in a really lovely way. You know, the people who've come have been really enthusiastic and embraced it. It feels like a sort of really holistic, positive experience.
Well, it's a privilege. You don't get the opportunity very often to help with the sculpture. It's been fantastic. I've enjoyed every second.
You felt like you were really contributing, that something's going to last for probably many centuries there, I think.
You're going to need to take a bit of that off.
Have a bit of faith.